See these piles of roads from episode 1? We are finally going to be turning those into a beautiful under the sea city. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Let's Build a Bikini Bottom, where we will be building Downtown Bikini Bottom, that famous city where you go see buildings pop up from who knows where. Like honestly, I don't think we've been to half these buildings in the actual show before, but you get to experience them there right from the ground in Minecraft here, in times of last formats of course. Now this was a project where I wanted to do for a while, which was down at Bikini Bottom. I was going to say this till later, then I realized I kind of did not really want the pile of roads just to be there at random, so that is why we are building Downtown Bikini Bottom. Then after that, we're going to be filling in some of the leftover gaps with some buildings that actually do matter, like the bank, the hat shop, and so many other builds that's going to be fitting inside this densely packed area of Downtown Bikini Bottom. And by the way, the buildings here are so huge, you might be able to house maybe, I don't know, 5 rooms per building if you're lucky. Because I assume most of this is residential, especially the high-rise building here. So what you saw me build first was number 1 random house, which is the yellow house right there on the left, and right here is the lighthouse, which is decently tall, but it's not gonna be anywhere as tall as the buildings coming up. That's had to move the turbine because it was too close to this massive beast. This took a while to build. This is the giant anchor. I have no idea why it's there. I assume it fell from the ship and somehow crashed into the Bikini Bottom and destroy a few buildings along the way, but honestly it's there, so I might as well just build it. And I kind of imagine it as a place where you can actually go in and visit and maybe eat lunch at the top, or maybe do something, I don't know. It's just there literally in the smack down in the center of the city. So that's there. Honestly, this was kind of tough because I had to get it at this angle, and it kind of had 2 designs in mind which didn't really work. It kind of migrated to one design to the second, mix them up, and that kind of made the anchor too curvy. So that's why that took a while to build. It kind of had to tear down quite a bit to make this crooked anchor actually look somewhat decent. But honestly, I think it looks somewhat decently. I don't know, what do you guys think? Leave me a comment. What do you think of this giant anchor? And you may have noticed I'm using very basic textures here, and that is because what I decided to do, kind of like the buildings I've been doing before, I'm going to be doing the infill, and then after I do the infill, which is like, doing the walls, I'm going to be doing the texturing, which will make these buildings pretty much come to life. Those are the 3 big massive buildings, well 4, including the windmill, and now we have some random buildings which just are there. And I assume these are mostly residential, with maybe a few commercial spaces on the bottom floor, but honestly I think it's just residential. That yellow building is pretty unique because it has that like red ring and it has like this weird smokestack sticking up. And don't ask me what that's for, I just assume it's like a penthouse where someone can live and do whatever. Same with the lighthouse, although I don't know the purpose of the lighthouse. It's probably just a normal house with a big beam on the top, which who knows if that beam still works. The building colors might look a little funky, and that's kind of because they are. I didn't just want to use like 1 or 2 separate 2 colors for the whole city. So I decided to kind of mix things up a little bit, and we're going to have a lot of unique colors to make the city look more interesting than just having that same blue boring color, because I can tell you, I think everyone will get on board with that. If I stick with that all one color thing, it will just been the lighthouse, the anchor, the wind turbine, and then everything else would have been mostly just a blue color, which is lame. So we're going to change all of that, and we're going to make it a little more fancy. And I use a lot of inspiration from Battle for Bikini Bottom for some of these buildings, and continuing on with the series, I'm going to be using more buildings from that series, from that level, because the buildings down there in Bikini Bottom, in Battle for Bikini Bottom are actually really good, very unique, and very interesting. I can see some that building right there is literally from that game. And then we move on to some texturing, starting out with the lighthouse, which is honestly the hardest building to texture because the that stripes that climbs up the building, but honestly it wasn't that bad as I thought it would be. And speaking of lighthouses, I did add some actual lights through all the windows, including this building, so it actually does look good at nighttime. I don't believe I have any footage of that, but I did take some photos of that. So those will be probably on the Instagram when this is done. And that's the beautiful lighthouse. We can go on top of it, go to observation deck, view the city. Although there's gonna be a lot of viewpoints in this area. Next is this little yellow random, I call it a residential tower with a huge penthouse on top. But this is probably the biggest building in terms of occupancy, capacity I should say, of residential that can live there. It has like literally like the most windows. I think it has like 8 or so windows, so that's really cool. And the top is the penthouse, which honestly I probably should add a few windows there, but I didn't really want the windows to really take away from the build. But honestly, I think it would have been fine just adding a few windows up there. I might do that after this. Get some more random buildings, and honestly there's not really too much to talk about those buildings. It's just really random buildings which will go have like 1 or 2 windows. Of course you have a door go into them. And another thing with these quote-unquote random buildings is that they do have some fancy smokestacks sticking with the under the sea kind of vibe, because you know ships have smokestacks and steams and all that, and chimneys, so almost all the buildings here will have one of those. I wonder if some of those chimneys are inspiration from the submarines, which has like that scope that goes above the water. I don't know if we do that in real life, but we do see it a lot in cartoons. And that might be the inspiration came from some of these. Another thing is like most of these buildings are not even like staying up straight. A lot of them, like that one, is actually on a curve. So doing that was kind of interesting. Wasn't too difficult, but it was interesting doing that. It kind of made the city actually come to life a little bit better. Although honestly, in my opinion, I kind of think it looks like something is actually wrong with the building. But can we say that with every other building in the Bikini Bottom? I think we can. We really could be building pineapples in the few episodes to come, but yep, looking so beautiful, looking fantastic. And one thing I didn't want to do is make it too packed, because in season 3 or season 2 of my Let's Build series, I think I compacted them way too much, with the first floor being too big. So what I did, I kind of gave some space all between so the buildings can breathe and make it more look like the actual Bikini Bottom. Now we're placing out the infrastructure, some light posts, a lot of light posts, lamps, and don't worry folks, this is not it. We're definitely going to be expanding the city a little bit more, the downtown area, because it's way too small and there's a lot of other buildings I want to add, including some more buildings that I'm sure you know. But yeah, this is Downtown Bikini Bottom as we put in the rest of the street infrastructure. And finally, we're going to end things off with some parking lots and some driveways. So I hope you enjoyed this little build of Downtown Bikini Bottom. There won't be a walkthrough just because of how simple this build was. Like really what you're seeing is what you get. But I think it turned out amazing anyway, so I hope you all enjoyed it. And this marks the start of the templates that we're using to build all the other random buildings, all the random houses in the city, as well as the suburbs. There's also lamp posts that we'll be building and traffic lights, so this is really the start of the actual street infrastructure that will be included throughout the entire map pretty much. Well, within reason of course, but yep, this is the start. And this episode will let me decide where to place certain buildings in around the Bikini Bottom, because I've been kind of struggling to place buildings where they're supposed to be, whether it's supposed to be in dense area or more in the outer areas of the Bikini Bottom. So doing this town center really helps me figure that out. I already had a diagram made of where things will go or tend to go, like the industrial park and the residential areas. Alrighty, let's take a look at some cinematics. And once again, I hope you all enjoyed this epic build of Let's Build a Bikini Bottom, Downtown Bikini Bottom, which looks, I think, amazing. So I hope you all enjoy. Please leave a like, subscribe if you really like this. I may even consider leaving a comment. I read all my comments, but I hope you all enjoy the rest of your days, and I see you all in the next one. Take care and bye bye.